big thanks to all of you for being here and for being on time. Really a great start. So really exciting to be here and to have the chance to facilitate this session. My name is Ian Lorenzen. I'm the Executive Director and Partner at Growth Africa. We've been so fortunate to work with BioInnovate in support of some of the program's bioscience innovations, and you can say our focus has been on supporting the projects in their partnerships and also the journey towards commercialization, which is definitely a very exciting journey, and I think one with a lot of learning for everyone, and something that we're still, I think, pushing forward. And you can say the presentation today is very much a step in that journey. I'll be facilitating the next 1.5 hours as I best can, trying to help and support that we get 9 exciting, what was, I'd say, BioInnovate projects, but now are transitioning into commercial businesses. We have a bit of a pitch type presentation, you could call it. Typically, people always associate pitches with a money ask, and I know that's one of the asks that some of the ventures will have. But very much the way I would encourage everyone to look at this is that there's a big invitation to all of you to engage with the 9 businesses. It's also an invitation for collaboration, for partnerships, for knowledge, for, yes, possible investments, definitely, and for other resources that we know any type of business would need in terms of getting to market, in terms of getting the business growing. So this is very much an opportunity to also ask questions and engage, and ultimately to try and connect and build, if not a relationship, then at least the first connection that hopefully could turn into some of the very relations that all the teams and the businesses need in that journey going forward. What we'll do is the format will be 3 minutes presentation or pitch by each of the 9 teams. In between the pitches, there'll be 3 minutes time to ask questions. I'll try and pick them up as I best can, and then there'll be some time at the end for those questions we may not have managed in the beginning, or additional questions that may have come up in the process. And very much, I think, ask questions specific into the presentation, but also definitely I'd invite all of you to see conversations around how could you potentially support or be relevant, add value to the given businesses and the entrepreneurs and the people behind the businesses. So definitely that invitation is one I would really love for all of you to keep in mind. You can use the chat to post the questions, and I'll try and pick them up as we do. Also, it does allow you to respond to the questions in between if need be. In terms of contact details and likes, I think we'll try and exchange that at the very end, so that there's also, everybody has shared their contact details, and that you can then contact the people that you'd like to be connected with further. Good. I think that hopefully sets the stage, and we're then lucky to have Keegan from BioBoo, Kenya, as the first presenter. So you say Kenyan, black soldier fly lover. I'm not going to take away all these, so I'll leave that to you, Keegan, to do the presentation. So please take it away, and welcome.
Thank you, Ian. My name is Keegan, and I'm the co-founder and managing director of BioBoo. Okay, so what does BioBoo do? BioBoo is trying to solve 2 problems. I guess the next slide, please. Thank you. BioBoo is trying to solve 2 problems. The first and foremost of those is how we feed our animals, and specifically what kind of protein we feed our animals. At the moment, the 2 main choices are soybeans and fish meal. Both of those are environmentally unfriendly, especially fish meal, and they can also be extremely expensive, and they're not available year-round. So we're trying to tackle that. The second problem we're trying to solve is what we do with our waste. At the moment, waste goes to landfill, it decomposes, it releases methane and contributes to our greenhouse gas emissions, both bad things. So we solve that by what we do is we collect lots of waste, we take it to our factory, and we introduce it to the larvae of the black swordfly, and we get out of that, we get two products. One is the insect protein, and the other is an organic fertilizer. Now, over the last 6 years, we've been working with research institutions all over the world to help us build a model, a scalable model of how to do this, how to deliver that protein, how to deliver that fertilizer. Our model now, we want to do per location. We're talking about doing 30 tons of defatted protein every month, and defatted is important, and about 100 tons of fertilizer every month. We have two locations, one in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and the other is our commercial pilot plant in just north of Mombasa. At this plant, we're really trying to sort of flesh out and test our custom-built machinery. Custom-built because there isn't anything off the shelf for this. We've really had to work with people to sort of develop this model. And we're also looking at our waste value chains, because if you want to do commercial quantities, you need commercial quantities of waste. And this, for us, this means about taking in about 3 to 4 40-foot containers of waste every day. Next slide, please. So how do we monetize this? So we're looking at, we're looking to go to market with a couple of different channels. The first of those is people that make feed. So we're looking at mills and farmers that make their own feed. And the other channel is people that either buy finished feed or that will buy the fertilizer. How we do this is we're looking to actually, we're looking to connect with some strategic partners, specifically in the impact and environmental field, but also anybody who is in animal nutrition. We're looking to connect with people that understand why we do what we do and they think it's important. They're not just looking at it as a business model. In terms of money, as Ian mentioned, some of us are asking for money, and we are one of those. We're in a position now where we have it down to, we think each location will cost $500,000. And we're looking at 3 locations with a further $500,000 for a technical center or support center. Support center is important because we don't want each of those locations to have to do their own R&D and development. Because in this industry, things are always changing. We always want to get better. So we're looking at that technical center to be able to disseminate new R&D and new processes and new machinery to those locations so they can do this better. And on our current numbers, on that $2 million, we're looking at a very conservative ROI of 30 to 40% over the 5 years. And and that is conservative. But if things go the way we want them to do, it'll be a lot better than that. Thank you. And I'm done. How was that the time?
Fantastic. Great. Awesome. And on the spot, really well rehearsed.
Thank you.
What would you say in terms of what would be the kind of partners that you would look at? So you mentioned, if we say, besides the money, what would be the kind of partners that you ideally would be looking for that could help you grow beyond what you're at right now?
So I think there's 2 sides to this. So there's the feed side. So it's people that actually understand, what a feed mill is looking for. What are the nutritional components? What is the, how much fat does the product have? How will it go through my machinery? People that have the technical background in knowing what is important for the final product. And I think that's why we mentioned people that are in animal nutrition, because they're going to it's extremely complicated once you start doing a commercial feed, and we are not experts at that. We are very good at breeding black soldier and handling waste, but when it comes to a finished product, we are still very much newbies in that field.
Good. Then I want to find out whether there was any who have any questions and they want to put forward, just so I don't be the ones asking all the questions. So let me open the floor if there's anyone who have questions to kick in.
Well, I can also keep talking. I mean, if we're going to use the 3 minutes, I'll happily have questions. I'll eat up the 3 minutes without problems.
Okay. Now, please, if there's anything you want to add on to what you shared, then please do that. And otherwise, definitely have a couple of questions.
Yeah, I think, this is such what we're doing, is so important, because we need to change the way that we live. We need to change the way that we feed our livestock specifically, because, if we're looking at, environmental degradation, a lot of that can be attributed to livestock. We're keeping animals in close quarters, where we have, the majority of land mass, in use agriculturally is either feed for livestock or livestock themselves, which is, this is not sustainable. The population keeps growing, we can't keep living like this. So, there has to be a solution. And at the moment, in terms of protein for animals, there is no other solution which has come as far as insect protein. Yes, some people are doing some other things, but, this is it. There's enough players in the industry now where, we need to be, people need to start, getting on board and taking the risk. And we're not saying, it's not risky, because every new, biotechnology has an element of risk, but, it is the best, choice that we have right now, and we need to fix it now. And, getting in early is what we want to see, because it's, you're shortening that lifespan, how, the end goal. If we keep waiting and waiting, we're only contributing, we're only getting, environmental degradation is only going to get worse. We're only going to breed more animals. We're only going to, we're growing more soy for these animals. The soy should be pushed towards human consumption. There are people starving, but yet for some reason, the majority of soy grown goes to feeding, cattle. This isn't anybody, the majority, and all these fish, we're overfishing, to feed fish to fish. This is, anybody with some sense knows that that's crazy. There has to be a better way of doing this. We spent so many years now, we know this is it. And this works. The technology is sound. There is a lot of, there's still some unknowns, but, where isn't there? And I think it's just we just got to get this going, sooner rather than later.
I think let me take that as the closing remark, and then already move on to the next presenter. And thanks a lot, Keegan. I'm sure we're going to come back, so let's see what we're going to come back to you as well. So next will be Maseno University seats, Professor Dida.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Next slide, please. Yes, our project is a partnership to deliver to market striga weed-resistant maize and finger millet varieties in Kenya and Uganda. And striga is a major problem in Western Kenya, as well as Northern Uganda and Eastern Uganda. And so our project is intended to deliver these striga-tolerant or resistant varieties of maize, as well as finger millet. You can see finger millet on the slide down on the left, which is very devastating on millets as well as other cereals. And our expected outcomes of the project were to deliver new markets for striga-resistant maize as well as finger millet varieties, which is our interest through this partnership. Next slide, please. Yes, and our value proposition in the project is we are promising striga weed-resistant maize as well as finger millet varieties with better yields and better income to the farmer and the ultimate beneficiary, better than what are currently available in the market in these regions. So our route markets, our customers are mainly the seed companies and merchants, seed merchants that are operating in Western Kenya, as well as Eastern and Northern Uganda. And we want to engage with them in terms of licensing these new varieties that we've produced and different programs at Maseno University, as well as nursery in Uganda, that's Serere in Uganda, particularly with regard to finger millet varieties. We, through this project, have a number of products, that is new varieties, like Maseno variety EH14, EH11, and Maseno variety EH12, which are tolerant or resistant to striga weed. In addition, we have a number of finger millet varieties also that are resistant to striga weed, particularly in Uganda at the moment. And we wish to engage with seed companies and our partners to commercialize these new varieties that would promise better returns to farmers in the region. And we hope through this project to get to the ultimate beneficiaries, particularly the farmers. And once the project takes shape, we hope to target beneficiaries of at least 10,000 farmers every year incrementally until we help reduce the issue of striga problem in this region, that is striga montica, which is a common weed problem in the region. And in our project, our team members are AgriSeed Company, which is operating in Kenya and Uganda. And my other contact is John Peter Tekan of nursery, Serere, Uganda, who's particularly focusing on finger millet. I think that is a full brief about our project. And I would wish to thank CIDA through BioInnovate Africa for supporting this project over the last 3 years. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thanks a lot. And also, again, spot on time. You really rehearsed this really well. So awesome. Could you maybe touch a little bit? I'd be curious about what's the total potential for your innovation. You spoke a little bit about the region, but what would be the total potential this could have if you had the right partners, even beyond the region?
Yes, striga weed is a major problem in the region, not only in Kenya and Uganda, but we initially started in Kenya and Uganda. We are aware striga weed is a problem in Tanzania, as well as other regional countries like Ethiopia and other Eastern African countries. So we have potential to expand on this project to support much more stakeholders in this. This was just the initial chosen 2 countries. And in terms of Kenya or Western Kenya, we lose almost up to 80% of cross loss due to striga weed. And so it's 40 to 80%, which is significant. And almost every farm in this region, particularly in the lowlands up to around 1,500 meters above sea level, have striga-related problems. In Western Kenya, Northern Uganda, parts of Tanzania, and the rest of other East African countries that are in lower elevations, including getting to Southern Sudan.
And if I get it right, so you're looking definitely at companies that seed companies that could help you. What else? You mentioned here you have collaborators and financial supporters that you're looking for. What would those collaborators be? And are they all private sector, or are there others in INGOs or even at government level that you're looking for partners as well? What would your wish list look like if Christmas had come very early this year?
Yes, our partners would be, they would be private sector, NGOs who are interested in getting these varieties out there. And we want to license these on an exclusive basis, which means that we will want to work with as many players as possible to get these materials to the ultimate beneficiaries. So any development in terms of private sector as well as companies dealing in seed, they are all welcome to work together with us. Thank you.
I can see there's a number of questions. What we can do is feel free to answer them in the chat after your presentation, and then I can try and pick up a couple of them afterwards, and or I can try and pick them up as well as each of you finish your presentation. So let me try and do that, but also do feel free to pick on some of them if you feel as your presentation is over. And do also, for those of you who want to have questions to the presenter, please put in your questions as soon as possible, and then I will get better now at trying to bring them out so you don't have to listen to me more than necessary. Thanks. Good. Fantastic. Then we'll move on to Dr. Benson and EcoGel as being the next presenter.
Thank you so much, Ian. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So basically our project addresses bio-waste conversion and aims to exploit fruit peelings and poultry-derived eggshells as raw materials to deliver an economical and renewable fuel as the innovative end product. The challenges being addressed are at least 3. We got much more than that, but we cite 3 in this instance. The first one being affordable clean energy, and that's captured clearly in SDG number 7. We also have indoor air pollution, and that's SDG number 3 on good health and well-being. And we also have obviously climate change, which is SDG number 13 on climate action. It would be interesting to note that Biogel Lake Victoria, Biogel LVB, which is our annotation for the entire project, is a collaboration of 4 partners. The members from these institutions have a role to ensure that research knowledge translates into some impact at the societal level. So we have a number of partners, and I list them in this slide. Maseno University, Kaimosi, the recent one, Naro, Uganda, and TPRI Arusha. That's the Tropical Pesticide Research Institute based in Arusha, Tanzania. I could move to the next slide. So for us to get from knowledge to impact, this is what we've been trying to do, and we are proposing that our market segment be captured as the rural and peri-urban households. So we are looking at those households right in the villages, basically because of the nature of our product. We are saying that one of the things that it has is it repels mosquitoes. And that's the reason that you see us heading more towards the rural rather than the urban areas. Let's also remember that we want to solve a problem, and our then destination would be in the rural setting, as much as we may want to go into the urban setups. I will also just add that the envisaged path to societal impact would then revolve around the following. The target market, as I said before, and we are targeting mostly women. The product, in terms of how we want to deliver it to the market, we are going through direct sales, which is what we actually tried during our piloting stages. Exactly what we did, and we got a lot of support from the local dealers as well, and we hope to continue engaging them. In terms of availability, we are looking at some of the resources that we would want to propel us forward. I cite financial and infrastructural support. Basically, we've done our piloting based on minimum viable product. So we've been working on laboratory outputs, and we've then transitioned from that. We are hoping that now we can move into the piloting stage and ultimately into the commercial scale. For us to be able to do all this, we are indicating that we would need partners in the areas of business acceleration and access to investment capital. Because for us then to be able to set up the pilot plant, we need to actually develop a system that is unique and different from the setup that we had before in the laboratory. I think I end there now.
Okay, awesome. Thanks a lot. And now I'll be honest to my work before, so I'll pick the question that was asked by Daniel, whether you've looked at other substrates for the production that may be more in abundance of EcoGel, or what does the supply situation look like in terms of supply of eggshells and orange peels? And if you could pick that question as a kickoff.
So in terms of the product, we have the aspect of safety. So what I think most of us know today are the ethanol cooking fuel. We decided to trap that ethanol into a gel-like component so that it is jelly in nature. And for us, that then makes it different and unique in terms of if you spill it, it is easy to collect and put back. It also slows down the combustion process so that it is not utilized and lasts longer actually, because the ethanol is then trapped within the acetate, which is the gel component. So a few unique features about the product makes it, I think, worth a try.
Yeah. What in terms of the what would be the kind of financial investment you're looking for, what would be the top three things that investment would go to if you were to get an investor?
For us now, priority is to have robust equipment in place, so mostly engineering aspects. We need to have the plant in place and functional, especially because we've tested the market and we know the demand is out there. So often the challenge and the obstacle that we come across is customers say, we want this product, but then we look backwards and are not able to deliver in volumes enough to satisfy that demand. So priority for us then would be, can we set up the plant and have it commissioned and functional?
What would you say is the most challenging element of trying to engage with investors and raising capital? Just so that we also get, when we try and get some of these investors on board that we know, we can also try and address some of those challenges that you may experience.
Yes, what I've come across is just on government support legislation. So often you find one of the products that we are going to be using in this in enterprise is ethanol. There are lots of legislations around the use of ethanol. And so there's the aspect of tax. The tax on ethanol-based products is quite prohibitive for fear that we may make the ethanol and have it, being directed to other users in terms of people can consume it. So the tax is prohibitive.
Good. I will come back to you as well, Benson. Thanks a lot. And then I think we'll proceed, staying really on time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
The next up would be Ahat from Guava.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Ian, for the introduction. We are Guave Company Limited from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. I would like to acknowledge the partners that we've worked with in this project. So it's the University of Dar es Salaam, Commission of Science and Technology. We've got Makerere University in Uganda, Sokoine University as well in Morogoro in Tanzania, and a private partner in Uganda to some investment. Could you kindly go to the next slide? Yeah, so we've been dealing with two problems. We're a 5-year-old company. BioInnovate project came on the way to actually bring together the partners that we were already working together and actually solve some of the things that were challenging. We've been quite looking at two challenges. One is the agriculture problem in terms of soil infertility. There's quite a number of studies as well, and I think the attention is growing so fast in terms of the soils losing their chemical and physical properties, and this is something that's leading to actually low crop production. And normally the way we define this problem is that I think there's so much discussion around food security and not around soil security, which we think is quite an important area that needs to be addressed on its own as a topic. Another challenge that we're dealing with is the abundance of the organic waste that is in major and fast-growing cities like Dar es Salaam. A colleague who is also presenting BioBoo did mention that Dar es Salaam is really a fast-growing city. The enormous amounts of bio-waste, organic waste is quite huge. If you look also, Tanzania is an agricultural country. Not only you have the organic waste that is in the cities, but you also have the agricultural waste that comes from different regions. So there's a vast amount of biomass that can actually be used to make different products. So our solution around this has been trying to design a product that can actually be sold as a fertilizer into the market. And our main comparison here was to see, can we create a substitute, an alternative fertilizer product for farmers that are already using chemicals. So we are now making what we call blended products that are organic, of industrial grade, and are crop specific. So during the market survey we conducted, we came to realize not all crops would use organic fertilizers in the most effective way. So we ended up deciding to be quite crop specific. So we are actually producing customized fertilizers for 3 crops. One is avocados, another one is onion, and another one is rice. And I think what we've also been able to do is actually improve the NPK level of the product that we've designed, and also increase the calcium level of the product that we've designed. So just to cement on this, in our analysis, compost doesn't have a market as itself. So we use compost as a raw material, and then it's blended with other bio products to be able to fit in the market. And if you can see the picture on the product, our product is granulated. We've converted it from powder into granules. Granules are effective in terms of fertilizer application. Granules are effective in terms of transport or logistics, and they reduce the bulkiness of the product up to 30%. So that creates more convenience for customers. So this has really been customer-centric and market-driven to actually develop a product of that style. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we're already in the market. That's the good news. We've actually engaged quite a number of farmers, and this is all range, small, medium, and large-scale farmers. For this year, we are seeing a capacity for our facility to produce is quite minimal compared to the orders that we've been able to secure. We've launched our product brand name as Hakika, which is a Swahili word meaning for sure. We are aggressively trying to sell alongside other competing products that are actually imported from other countries. The huge opportunities in the avocado sector. So if you see on the right, we've got Hakika avocado fertilizer. So that's a customized fertilizer bag and customized fertilizer product for farmers who are growing avocados, and mostly that's for export. We've sold over $75,000 over the last 2 years. That's in terms of sales. Last week, we just sent our first consignment to Uganda after getting interest from the customers in Uganda, and our private partner is helping to distribute that. So by the end of the year, we're actually engaging Control Union, which is an international company that certifies inputs for farmers that are growing export crops. So we'll have an EU standard for the product, and mostly that will help us reach more customers that are exporting organic avocados. And we may further look into markets like vanilla and cocoa, which are grown organically, and they all have a market as well. In fact, we're getting customers asking us whether we have a standard in order for us to supply them. So the next steps, COVID-19 was tough this year. We didn't put so much effort into raising money. So next year, we're going quite aggressive in terms of fundraising. We want to revive the contacts we've had, and we're looking for partners to support us in that process. So we're looking for $377,000 in terms of debt or soft loan. We think our business can repay off a soft loan. However, of course, we are keen to discuss the terms, which doesn't have to be like a bank loan, something like that. But we're more looking for partners on that, and that's going to be invested on our factory expansion and market as well. We're also looking for partners to work with in terms of market development and working with smallholder farmers to create much more awareness in different places in the country. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Arhan. And let me just, out of curiosity, when you said that the finance you're looking for is debt or soft loan, why not equity? Let's just say that I knew somebody who could be very interested. Why not equity?
No, it depends on what will come on the table, but we also feel like it's at this early stage, we have a proven business model. We've got a proven business idea. The market is calling us, wants our products. We don't see so much value in equity. However, going to a bank loan would require much difficult terms. So I think for a debt, it's going to be, it would work on our side as a first priority. I think equity investment would be a second priority on our side. And I think for a debt, for an entrepreneur, it gives us more commitment into the business. You know, equities, we share the risk, but a debt, I'm the one who is taking the much more of the risk. So that's the thinking around. That's the thinking around.
I can see there's a question from the audience on how you compete with the big companies supplying fertilizer. And I can see you have Yara next to your back here. That definitely gives you one of the big boys. How do you compete, and what's the, if not the secret sauce, what is your thoughts around how to get into a market where you have some quite big players as well?
Yeah, it's still quite competitive. We are more focused into niche markets. It's giving us more competitive advantage. We speak more to avocado farmers, rice farmers, and onion farmers. So we try to customize everything around those farmers, where our competitors are trying to sell to a large group of farmers in different value chain of the crops. So we're trying to be experts in certain value chains, so that's easy for us to have more direct relationship with farmers, unlike competitors who have one product and they want to sell it to 20 value chain or 20 different kind of crops. I would say another way we are trying to compete is that we're trying to actually sell the real value of our product, which is improving soil fertility and at the same time increasing yield, which is something we can easily demonstrate. So I think the product also sells by itself. That also creates a good competitive edge for us. Yeah.
Good. Thanks a lot, Ahmed. Then I will take it on to the next presenter, who is Professor Mukasa from Sinai Farm Suppliers.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good.
I'm Mukasa from Uganda, and I'm the director of Uganda Farm Supplies, Sinai Farm Supplies Limited. Our focus is really on sweet potato planting material. And the reason why we went into sweet potato is that sweet potato is an interesting crop. It takes only 4 months to grow. You can get very high yields of up to 20 tons per acre, and farmers have been recorded to get quite a good income from even small acreage. In our previous study, which we did in Uganda, we found out that in 2 districts in central Uganda, there was vine production worth $14 million per annum, which means that farmers could buy vines that much. But there is a huge challenge. There is no available quality planting material that are available to farmers. And then 2, when farmers use quality planting material, we've realized that you can increase yield by more than 50% without any other inputs put into production of sweet potato. So this incited us into joining this business, and so went into producing clean and quality planting material. And we had some kind of innovations that drove us into this. One, we have the capacity to produce quality planting material using tissue culture technology as well as virus indexing. Then 2, we're able also to mobilize farmers into a network of vine multipliers in the country. We are also able to develop a platform, which is ICT-based platform that can allow us to reach farmers throughout the country. And this platform actually, we think it can be extended to all our partners in the region. That is in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. So this project, which is really focusing on ICT-based project for promoting production and the marketing of sweet potato, is now spread out to all the 4 countries that are participating. And as of now, we have a network of 12 vine multipliers in 12 districts of the country. And these are the ones that receive primary clean planting material, and then it's taken to districts for further secondary multiplication and selling to farmers. We have already realized a the purchasing power, because farmers can see direct benefits in terms of yield, and we are seeing an increasing demand, especially for niche varieties, which attract export marketing. Next slide. Next slide. So what we can see here is that when we do produce vines from the lab and then take them through the greenhouse production and then to the farmers automatically see this drastic increase in yield. And by that, they keep coming back to us, again, creating another challenge, which I think we need to partner with other companies or investors in how to organize farmers to produce for some target export markets for the excess yield in the sweet potato roots. So this project, we are not alone as Senai, but we are up to 6 different partners. In Uganda, we are Senai Farm Supplies Limited, Makerere University. Then in Kenya is Mimea International, as well as the JOKWAT, Jomo Kenyatta University. Then in Tanzania, it is the Tanzania Agricultural Research Institute at Mikocheni. Then Rwanda, we are working with RAB, Rwanda Agricultural Board organization. So basically, these are our partners, and so far we are hopeful that these technologies put together should be able to help the farmers earn more money, as well as Senai would be able to be in position also to make more money out of selling sweet potato vines. Thank you for the attention.
Thanks, Professor Mukaza. What would you say are the core challenges of trying to scale your business, and who could be the potential partners that could help scale? Let's just set alone that the money is not the solution to everything. Who would then be the other kind of partners that you could see help you overcome any obstacles to growing the business and really scale it?
Actually, what we have realized is that when we give out these vines, farmers already get very high inputs, I mean, very high yields, and then you get a crisis of overproduction. So we've started partnering with private export companies who have identified what we call some niche varieties that have potential export markets, such that we create a whole value chain, right from the lab to the greenhouse to the garden, and then to the export hub. So basically, we need to partner more with the people who can take up that export kind of knob that is connecting the farmers to the market. Some of the varieties that are locally grown are not so much hit by the viral diseases. So in that case, it may not attract so much, putting out of the emphasis on the locally somehow preferred varieties. But what we realize is that sweet potato is gaining out of importance in terms of export, given its nutritional kind of value, and also the fact that now we have the capability to keep it having a longer shelf life of up to 6 months without bigger problems. So it can easily be exported out of the region.
And in terms of export, because I can see that's also a bit of a common theme.
Yeah.
What are the kind of the challenges that need to be worked on, and perhaps there's not specific just to your business, but that you see, particularly your business, that perhaps is preventing us from exporting more and getting this sold to markets, that I should say, where there is a demand and we have a supply, but there's the usual kind of gap in there. What would be the kind of the pieces that you see this is challenging in terms of doing more exports, and which perhaps could be addressed as well if there's people in the audience here who would be sitting in the right places?
Yeah, one of the challenges is to do what we call curing the sweet potato, and the long route from East Africa maybe to reach Europe or the Middle East. There is a certain consignment that is supposed to be leaving Uganda in December, and probably to reach Amsterdam in early February. So that 2 months transit, because it has to go by road to Mombasa and then up to by sea via Portugal and then to Amsterdam. So we are seeing that kind of transit is a bit of time, which needs more care and in terms of handling the product, in terms of curing it and then such that it is able to stay that long time. But from our results we've had so far, it seems it is possible. And then we need to work out the cost of production. Many times people think that Africa, the cost of production is low, but actually we need to bring down the cost of production through increasing the productivity of the crop such that we become more competitive vis-a-vis other producing areas.
Right. Fantastic. I will take it forward here and then ask Professor Njau to take on the next presentation on behalf of Bioeconomy Africa.
Yes, thank you very much, Ian. I'm presenting Bioecon, a new company that I'm managing now. And this is offering quality consulting services in the engineering design system for waste management, wastewater treatment, but also designing domestic and also industrial biogas systems. And the main focus for us is to be able to deal with especially highly loaded wastes, organic waste, and treating it by creating products that can be of use. And energy has been one thing that for industries has been attractive to take our innovation. And what we usually focus on is industry, especially because we have realized that in the region, we don't have many local companies that can offer the treatment systems that can deal with the industrial wastewaters, which are normally highly loaded. And therefore, we are creating kind of a niche there as local companies, and we are promising them that the advantages that they can get by using our company will be also related to after-sales services, since we are locally available. And we have been able to do some systems. And unfortunately, COVID was a big blow to us because most operations were operating at very low capacities, and it was not easy to move around. But it's opening now, and currently we are very busy trying to get more projects so as to build our company reputation. And I would like to say that it's not only companies that deal with organic waste, but any entity that is producing organic waste will be our customer. But in the area of companies, industrial facilities, this becomes a very good area for us because of the lack of many companies that can compete with us, except foreign companies. And I would also like to say also that we are looking at other products connected to, or other activities that are connected to our systems. Like we would like to offer services also where a company wants to install a wastewater treatment system, but they don't want to run it, and then we can actually offer running the facilities that we build so as to get continuous revenues. And we have other avenues where we can use the same systems to create revenues, like also in some companies they don't use the gas, and therefore we can pack that and distribute it for even domestic use if that becomes an option. And I would like to say that currently we are established, and I'm sitting in the office that is a Bioeconomy office. And our limitations now is to build that capacity locally in terms of our staff, to be able to employ staff and continue with the business. I think I would end up there.
Njau, I'm definitely going to ask you what your Christmas wish list looks like on behalf of Bioeconomy, because you must have quite a wish list there.
Absolutely, yeah. My wish list one is to build my company staff to be able to handle projects, especially big projects. And this is not only from technology point of view, but the whole process of having a company that has an identity and being able to relate, especially to the customers who can come from Tanzania and they can come from anywhere in Africa. As you can see from our name, we are looking forward to be able to offer the services not only in Tanzania but beyond Tanzania. So there is the building up of experience of our staff to be able to relate to the level of service that we would like to offer. But also we need to market Bioecon very, very aggressively. And of course, the opportunities that we are looking for now, they are helping us to build the profile, but we need to be able to project ourselves so that we are known that we do exist. Currently, we are happy that when it comes to complicated waste management, there are a lot of people that are now directing, customers to me, but they are using my name, and I would like to change that to use the company's name, because then the companies will continue to be active longer. So that is so we need also to build our staffing. We need to acquire equipment for design and the analysis of designs. We needed to be able to also being able to deal with big projects which require upfront some money to be able to, before you even sign the contract, there is already quite a lot of money that you need to have in upfront to be able to realize that. Yeah. And when we are looking for, in terms of funding, if you could get anything between 200 and 300,000 US dollar, that would be being able to acquire the design softwares, to staff our company, but also to be able to deal with the projects that we get, which are large in nature. For example, now we have a proposal that we're developing now, which will be about 1 million US dollar project, about 2 billion shillings, Tanzanian shillings. And for such a project, before you are already in and getting revenues to be able to assist you, I think it requires quite upfront amount of money. And if you go to banks, this will be a difficult thing for a young company like ours to be able to get enough money to do that. Yeah.
I think that's good. Kind of segue into one of the questions that was raised from Cynthia here in the chat. In terms of looking at the local governments, municipality level or state level as potential customers, or where do they sit in terms of your business model, and what can be done to engage them and get them to see the same light that you've seen in terms of the importance of the kind of installations that you're deploying?
Yeah, apparently local government is a very key client for us, simply because it is in the local governments where you get the abattoirs, and fortunately we've built a system which is working pretty well in Mwanza for dealing with abattoir wastewater. It was quite interesting that probably all local governments in Tanzania, they have seen that system, simply because when they saw that you can actually generate biogas from the system, they were very much interested. They were directing their own staff to go and see the system. The only problem that we are getting with being able to change that into projects is the fact that for such a system you need a relatively large capital, and most local governments, they never imagined that it would be that expensive, and therefore we have had at least 2 local governments have adopted the system now, but the rest of the local government, they were very much interested, and when it came to the capital investment, then that became a bit of a hindrance for them to proceed further. And also that is because in the local government, everything is coming to them, schools, roads, etc. And they have to prioritize where the money they collect has to be used. And suddenly the priority is not in the treatment of abattoir wastewaters. Yeah.
Sure. So we need to still knock at a couple of doors and see what some of these perhaps more institutional investors could be engaged on. Thanks a lot, and Joe, thanks as always.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Then we will go to Almi Foods and Professor Abagas. The floor is all yours.
Oh, sorry. I am from Hawassa University and Almi Food Manufacturer PLC in Ethiopia. Next slide, please. Yeah. My pitch is just the use of bioscience to commercialize sorghum products for improved nutrition and socioeconomic gains in East Africa. And the starting idea was the use of bioscience for commercial sorghum products. And the solution obtained was just the use of bioscience for commercial sorghum products. And this comes as a solution of sorghum, use of sorghum as nutritious food ingredients. How this comes into reality because of development of nutritious and healthy foods by partners like 3 consortium countries in East Africa, namely Tanzania, Uganda, and Ethiopia, and 7 experienced food scientists from the 3 countries, and the grant from SIDA, BioInnovate Africa program. And the result of this scientific idea was a solution to bioscience innovation. And this innovation yields technology for nutritious and healthy foods production to scale up. And the experienced professional teams in the 3 countries, the 3 consortium countries. And again, this is ready and into the startup business already launched. And technology adaptation for business use in scaling to the 3 countries. Next, please. And this solution has been uptaken by for the business use. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so this solution was been taken up by the Almi Food Manufacturing PLC in Ethiopia for commercialization of these innovative products. And the products of this solution were nutritious foods for children and non-communicable disease patient diets like diabetes or celiac disease with gluten-free. And the supply, that's biofortified ingredients from smallholder farm producers, where our target groups are low income and middle income groups of at the bottom of the economic status, that's at the bottom of the pyramid, where the revenue streams are mainly product and byproduct selling. As a new business, we are really in need of support and partnership. Mainly funding or joint venture on the machine procurement and as well as the product transportation for distributions. And when it comes to the need here, technological support in terms of business growth and in terms of market integration and networking. So with this, we kindly invite interested investors or partners to support us and to bring these markets in the sub-regions, as well as the targeted children and patients from the local resource product. And don't forget, Ethiopia is also the source of the sorghum as biodiversity, this very important site. So we are ready to accept partners and to bring this business into a wider range. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Professor Abagas. So in terms of, and I sense that's a little bit theme for a number of the ventures as well. Mm-hmm. How would you say is the support you're looking for, is that more on the business side than on the technical side, or how would you say that you kind of need, where is it that you need the support? And then of course the financial one is kind of sitting on the side. But where do you see the most challenges when sitting in a position such as yourself and with the partners you have as well already in the consortium?
Yeah, this business is with the members of 4 founders, And then the limiting factor now, is sorghum, and the sorghum has a gritting nature, and we need to have a refining, milling. Then we need really the machinery for specially, because we have different ingredients. We need different grinding machines and sorting machines. So in that, we focus more on business on the basis of these scientific findings. We have looked at this because the market here is either import, which is beyond the capacity of middle incomes, or it's also homemade. And the homemade is very, very laborious, and people now just changing their lifestyle, even they don't have enough space to make a blended grain for children in the village or in the city. So we want to make that with the capital investment for, the machineries and the distributions. If we get that, then the resources are available, and we have also expertise. We have also many partners in terms of, knowledge transfer perspective. We are working with the university. We are working with the TechnoServe and with Feed the Future in techniques and the like. So, but we have to be the business in a wider scope. That is actually the interest we have to the business end.
And in terms of the agenda, is enough attention to, you could say, the nutrition agenda? Is that something as well where there could be partners that could help you say lobby or promote the agenda, and where there's value in that as well? Or where does that sit in terms of helping you and your business move forward?
You mean the agenda or the gender?
Yeah, no, the agenda. So the focus on nutritional food.
Yeah.
Is there enough spotlight on that, or where does that sit in the kind of the other areas that could support you? I could imagine there could be partners. You already mentioned a couple where that would be very aligned to their kind of focus as well.
Yeah, actually, we are nearby the agro-industry cluster. Still we are renting the shed from agro-industry clusters. But to utilize that resource, we have a good resource of working places, and also here, what we need as agenda is just equipping this system and filling that gap with the local resources. And now there is an increasing patients of non-communicable disease also, to diversify our products in a wider perspective. So our agenda is mainly to have a processing, more modernized and more efficient processing units to reduce our production costs, because right now more laborious and production cost is high. Then this appears as a technology or a machinery intervention so as to make it more boosting in the production volume and wider market. That's the priority here. As the founders, the group decide on that aspect.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Abigail. I will now hand it over. Time is always short. And then I'll pass it over to Dr. Sarah from Aroma Honey Toffee.
Thank you very much.
Take over. Thanks a lot.
Hello, everybody. This afternoon, I want to introduce to you Aroma Honey Toffee. My name is Sarah Mobiru. And ideally, Aroma Honey Toffee was created with the aim of trying to reduce excessive consumption of processed sugar through eating sweets. Currently, most of the sweets on the market are actually largely produced from processed sugar, which from our understanding and from literature and research actually is quite unhealthy. There are a number of locally produced products that can be used to make sweets, that can be used to make candies that are really healthy. And in the process, once you do this, you're creating market for the producers of those products. You're also creating employment. So in 2015, Aroma Honey Toffee began research on producing sweets from honey. And hence, what you see above there, integrating Aroma Honey Toffee in apiculture value chains in Uganda, Kenya, and Rwanda. So currently, we produce sweets from honey. They contain 75% honey, 0 processed sugar, and they come in 4 types. They come those with coconut, those with ginger, those with groundnuts, and those with coffee. So our main customers for these sweets currently are individuals, their families, their offices, their event organizers, their hotels, their cafes, but there are also tour companies. So those are our main customers at the moment. Definitely we intend to grow the customer base for this product. Now, besides that, how do we market this product? How do we sell? We have an online shop on a zero-site website. We largely sell through deliveries. We have one outlet that stocks our toffees, and this will grow once we get certification, which we will be getting soon. We also plan to own some of our own outlets, so at least starting with one in Uganda. And with the support of BioInnovate Africa, we're also looking towards having franchises in Kenya and Rwanda. So our major target by 2025 is to have at least 4 million honey toffees being consumed across East Africa. And this would result in margins of $1 million US, and this is annually. Now, in order to do this, we need at least $200,000 US specifically for two reasons. First of all, is to be able to obtain equipment that can support mass production of the toffees. And then secondly, also to establish and operationalize a marketing and distribution. So we're actually looking for partnerships that can walk this journey with us, reap the benefits with us together with all the others in the value chains. And if for any interest, any contact to future partnerships, someone can visit our online shop. That's the zero-site website. Can also visit our virtual exhibition booth. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Sarah. So I was a bit curious because you mentioned certifications. Is that an obstacle in terms of a product like yours and an innovative product that perhaps isn't already in the market, or what would kind of be the barriers and obstacles that you're facing on that side?
Actually, certification is really not a barrier or an obstacle. It's just that it's a process. It's a process because you have to have so many things in place before you actually get the certification. So right now, by the time we got the grant from BioInnovate Africa, we had already started constructing a facility. And the support has helped us a lot to do the finishing of that facility. So now we're beginning to, on Saturday, that is the day after tomorrow, we're getting a pre-audit visit. And the pre-audit visit helps to support us check what is left. There's so many small things that must be added to the facility before you actually get the certification. Not that you can't apply, you can apply, but you don't want to apply and get 10 inspections before you actually get the certification. You want to apply and get the least number of inspections and then be able to get the certification to get you moving. So it's the expense.
Yeah, I was quite excited as well, the fact that you're the first one mentioning franchising. So what would it take to become a franchisor of your concept, and when would you be ready, just in case that could be the kind of partners or resources I or my network could have access to?
Yeah, so in terms of what would it take, personally, I'm still building my capacity as a managing director about the whole process of franchising. But I see a situation where we have an agreement with the person going to do the franchising. We do part of the steps for them in terms of the mixture or something, whatever they add, because this product is trademarked in Uganda, at least so far. And then they add other things because the assumption is wherever the franchise is going, those people must be able to access honey. It is the largest, the ingredient that is added to the toffees in the largest proportion. And ideally, that is why our current partners, the one in Rwanda, the Union of Beekeepers of Bishwati, and in Kenya, Rasifa Honey, they are honey producers. So they are ideal strategic partners. They already have the 75% ingredient, and then the rest they can receive from Uganda. They've already also started to, in Rwanda, they already have their facility well set. In Kenya, they are getting their facility close to being also complete to be able to have certification in Rwanda. also get the certification in Kenya. And then the other part besides how ready are we? We cannot be ready without certification from the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, because we're first looking at East Africa, but we're planning by the end of this year to already have the certification from Uganda National Bureau of Standards. And then we can start to get somebody to advise us what kind of agreement would you have if you're now looking for partners to have a franchise for Aroma Honey Toffee.
Exactly. So now I had a couple of questions. So let me just, sorry. There were a couple of questions that let me just take one of them. I'm still in time. So there was a question around, so how about concentrating distribution through resellers instead of your own outlets or franchising? What are your thoughts around that? And why that one approach?
Okay, this is about resellers, like people who receive the toffees in bulk and then repack them or something like that.
They could still be selling your brand, but they would be then shops selling on your behalf, the same way you see Cadbury or other brands, for example.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that at all. Once they're keeping the brand, because we don't want to compromise the quality indeed of what we are producing. Only that we're looking at franchise options as options that will move the product over greater distances than simply moving small packs, on trains, small packs on buses, small packs on airplanes, things like that. So a franchise would move the product further. That's just for the resellers. Yes, we're already even doing it with one outlet here. And once we get certification, we'll probably give it a shot with a number of other outlets, maybe even across East Africa. But I feel it's more cost effective, maybe if you're working through a franchise and you move greater distances.
Yeah, so one of the questions I had a bit perhaps to a couple of the businesses, to what extent have you worked with international NGOs that may help you with some of the distribution and who may increasingly as well have impact investment money, or money that they could be investing either soft or at least softer than commercial businesses? Is that something that any of you have had any experience with? Okay, I can hear that we have. So Bertha, I hear you will present on behalf of John. Bertha, are you ready to go over?
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bertha. I'm I work with the subset blocks with John. Of course, my network is also not very good, but I'm going to try. Yeah, this Oko substrate block is a brand name for substrate block for production of mushrooms. And we decided to come up with this idea after finding out that we have problems in having quality substrate for mushroom production. The production was very low. So it appeared to be that the quality of the substrate is an issue, because people used to collect anything, use anything to grow mushrooms. We had also a problem of access to markets for the product. After the farmers grow the mushrooms, it was difficult to sell. So we came up with an idea of having a center where people can come, purchase the substrate, go and grow the mushrooms, and then we can help them. We can then help them to sell, to get market for their product. So the aim here was to create the links to fill that gap along the value chain. Yeah, and also to improve production. both mushroom production and also to come up with the mushroom products to process and add value to the product, so that we can, of course, so that we can access the market for the products. Currently, we are supporting farmers who are growing only oyster mushrooms, but we want to go to other types like shiitake and button mushrooms. Market linkages and networking development strategy for medium and large scale growers. That is another thing we are working on. To build capital and infrastructure for mushroom crop collection, value addition, and packaging technologies. To implement marketing and behavioral change campaigns in favor of mushroom consumption. To implement trainings to create, retain new mushroom growers and businesses along the value chain. You know, the value chain is like segmented. It's not as consistent as it's supposed to be, because sometimes the farmer will grow mushrooms, harvest very well, doesn't know where to sell. And then there is someone there who needs mushrooms but doesn't know where to get the mushrooms. So we are working on filling those gaps in the value chain.
So I can see I've been given a little bit of time. So otherwise, one of the questions I would like to ask is if any of you have worked with international larger NGOs and what experience you may have on that, because I could see that being something that could be relevant for quite a number of the businesses, and also given that a number of these NGOs increasingly have some kind of impact investment capital that they may be able to invest into the right businesses as well. I don't know whether any of you have any experience, any comments on that we could pick up on, and then otherwise definitely invitation to the rest of you to ask questions as well, and I'll read them up from the chat and then make sure we get them answered. In terms of the investment you're looking at, and there was a good number of you that mentioned you're looking for investors. What would be the ideal type of investors? Are those international investors, local investors, purely looking at the financial aspect, also some with a technical insight into your area of expertise, or what would be that kind of the profile of investors that you're ideally looking for? Yes, Kiki.
I think that depends on the kind of relationship that you're looking for, because I think, you know, if you want somebody, you know, that's very hands-on, I mean, they're going to need to have you know, experience in your industry, but you know, that can also be a detriment, because, you know, somebody, you know, that comes in with money and then starts telling you how to do your job might be a bit annoying. So it really depends on your own. You know, if you're okay with people coming in and, you know, you're really getting involved, then yeah, you want somebody that understands what you're doing and comes in with some sort of expertise to help you push it along. But if you're confident in what you do and you think, you know, you've got it covered, then, you know, I think you take money from, you might not want somebody that has a knowledge, because then they will start getting involved and you won't like it. So I think it's going to be a very personal, it's going to be a personal choice as to how, you know, what kind of relationship you're looking for.
Anybody else want to chip in on that? And Zhao?
Yeah, I think for me, any investor that pushes the agenda further, make the company grow, I think I would actually welcome such an investor. It doesn't matter whether this is international or local, as long as it pushes Bioecon to grow. That is my take of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I add a comment to that also? I'm working with Unjao for Bioecon also in the area of incubation and company growth. I think ideal investors for Bioecon will be impact investors or social investors. However, just purely business type of financial investors will be okay also, at least for Bioecon. it's a commercial company, and as long as as Kijen pointed out, if the directions or the pursued direction is different, then obviously we cannot accept the money. But if it's for financial gain, and also if it includes impact investment feature, then we'll welcome that.
It was kind of a number of you had a bit government kind of sits in a bit of an influential sphere around your businesses as well. I didn't quite get a sense of how many you are proactively working with the government, whether local or at the national level. Is that something as well where we could have more effort in trying to make those connections, or is that simply too tedious and you'll just work it around like most other businesses do? Or what could be done in that area? Avgas?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, we are working with the public institutions like the universities, research institutions, and NGOs who are working in the similar line of development. Because they are a good promoter, at the same time, they are also a good seller for the new businesses. Otherwise, if we start by our own alone, it will be difficult even to bring at this level. So knowledge-based investment with software, human mind, and then the financial inputs. If we, bring this through, technology, knowledge, and finance together in a team, then we can move forward. That's because it's for the public interest, and even we are using the public industrial cluster shed because it's under the monitoring of the government, even with a policy incentive. I think we have to engage the government tools and the private tools so as to make some change for the interest of the community. That's what we are trying right now. Thank you.
What's kind of your thoughts on how we potentially could better blend and perhaps bring in some of that soft money as part of a growth path, but also acknowledging that we can't just live off grants and free money. We kind of need to perhaps then put it up together with exactly the kind of investors with the debt or equity or other means. Any of you have any thoughts on how we perhaps better could facilitate the conversation with some of that grant money, and how we then match it up with some of the more hard commercial money that perhaps also is needed, especially at a later stage? Zhao?
I think there is there are different ways of looking at that. One, first of all, I agree with you. As a company, as a commercial company, we need to be able to create revenues to be able to exist as a sustainable company. However, there are some form of money that can be available that assist the growing companies. I remember that we are growing, and I'm sure all these projects, we are growing in an environment where the really mechanisms for support internally, young companies, local companies, is either very young, or sometimes it's not existing. And I'm sure everywhere there must be some ways in terms of the policy or support that enables small companies grow into businesses so that they can survive. So there could be some money that assists young companies to grow in that way, not replacing the fact that they need to be able to generate their own incomes. Sometimes it's money that it does not necessarily come directly to like my company. If there could be a way that my clients, some of the big clients, they could get a loan, which is kind of a soft loan, so that they can implement some of the the innovation that I could participate in, so that they safeguard the environment and the climate change. And then I access that money because I'm actually doing some good work, for the clients. This could be an avenue, and this is not money that you say it's given out, although it's really given out somehow, but it's actually money that can be returned back to wherever it's coming from. This kind of support, it can be necessary, especially if I look at the kind of capital investments that are required for some of the systems that I can actually implement. So it should be money that encourages growth of the company as a commercial company. And I would like to talk a little bit about the earlier question about the link of public vis-a-vis the, as a private enterprise. Yes, the public has a very important role, and my colleague even said that. Especially, I would have imagined, for example, that since we have a solution to wastewater issues, especially from big polluters, then whenever there is a project that is dealing with this, especially from public money, local companies should be considered first, given the opportunity to practice, to even grow the capabilities. Even the more you do it, the better you become. And that is something that requires a bit of a higher level political decision, or policy decision for that matter. But I'm also imagining that most of us are coming from universities, not everybody, but for us who are coming from universities, sometimes, the structures in our universities, they would wish to be either thinking that the companies have to be university companies and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes sometimes it's not very nice, but I'm very glad, for example, in my case that, I talked to you earlier, but, events are happening. And now we are discussing about affiliation. How can my company be affiliated to my university where there is a win-win? And that's the discussion now. And this is a very big step, because initially it wasn't thought like that. And therefore, I would wish to unless there is a infrastructure for support of private enterprises within universities, which in most cases is not there, because they don't have what we call withholding companies that can actually deal with other companies that can emanate from research, etc., etc. So I think that maybe through this experience, maybe we may come up with a good modality for my case. But I'm sure that most of the people that are coming from universities, they have that problem of how to identify the company. We need the university, because if I go, especially I want to access public money, public projects, and I say I'm affiliated to my Nelson Mandela, that becomes a very big plus to be able to access the project together with my good proposal. So somehow I need my institution, but somehow also I don't want that this big institution overriding a small company that is just starting, with the lack of the commercial practices that are required for running a commercial company. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I think that was actually a good closing remark. So as always, there was never enough time, and I know we could spend a lot more time on this. Time is up for today, but I really hope, and I really encourage that the conversation continues, and really that this is just a starting point. I trust that those who are interested in the presentations, we can get those from Shira, and also that the contact details we shared as well. And I really would close off with just repeating the invitation. Please do connect, and please reach out. And definitely, I know that BioInnovate definitely will be very happy to try and be the facilitator, and that we all know kind of the partnerships is the way forward. And none of us can solve the very, very big challenges I think these 9 amazing ventures are trying to address. It has to be done because of us working together, and I think this session is definitely a part of that. So I really encourage all of you to take that up as the next step and the action piece. My time is up for now, and a big thanks to all of you. It's really been great. I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can contribute as well going forward, and picking up my own medicine as well on that one. But thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks for now.